On this episode of the Contagious Influencers of America podcast, John Schneider is here to empower us ahead of his latest project.
When you feel that the person you love more than anyone or anything in the world may not make it through the day, there's no way to prepare for that. But the biggest trick for anybody who is on the right path, that you learn to expect opposition and to invite it.
Hey everyone, I'm David Sams, your host of CIA, Contagious Influencers of America. Just the other day I had right here, Chonda Pierce, my good friend. She's starring in a new musical. That's right, a new musical, and it's coming to theaters. It's called The Confession Musical. And now I have joining me John Schneider, who also stars with her. You may know John, of course, from Dukes of Hazzard. He played Bo Duke. And, of course, he played Jonathan Kent on Smallville. Now he's playing a gold-digging husband in The Confession Musical that's in theaters for one night only on February the 20th. Now, a little bit about this film. It's an Amish love story filled with drama, love, and some comedy. But it's actually based off a very popular New York Times best-selling book by Beverly Lewis. And I mean, that book has sold something like millions of copies. Not only is the storyline so compelling, but it was recorded, get this, on a stage in front of a live audience. And it's a completely different experience. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see this in movie theaters across the country. John is going to talk all about it and what it took to create this musical. And get this, they did it in 8 days. 8 days. But we're also going to spend some time talking about his wife, Alicia, who is currently going through some, a health scare, and she's been in the hospital. She's a cancer survivor, and she also broke her back a while back. And now she's fighting encephalitis. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we're going to talk about how the two of them are able to stay so strong through all of this, and of course, give our prayers for her recovery. But before we get to the interview, I'm here to tell you right now that now is the perfect time to rethink how you pay for health care. You can join Medi-Share and save even more than usual. The typical family switching to Medi-Share saves something like $500 or more a month. That's right, $500 a month back in your pocket. Not to mention, when people choose Medi-Share, they are happier. Medi-Share has double the customer satisfaction rate compared to the industry. There are something like 400,000 members, and they've shared something like $4 billion of medical bills, and it's really a great community. People encourage and pray for each other. Great savings, great health care. I'm talking about Medi-Share. So why wait? Right now, now's the time to make the switch. Here's the number you need. 833-32-BIBLE. 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 Medi-Share. Now let's get to our interview that I did with John Schneider. Hey, John, how you been, buddy?
Hey, I've been. My wife's been in the hospital, so I've had better months, but she is on the mend, so I'm feeling a little better today.
Oh, fantastic! Well, good. Hey, listen, I want to get to your project here in a minute. I had a chance to talk to Chonda yesterday, and of course, that's always an event.
That's an event.
But what other than taking care of your wife, and is she doing okay?
She's doing okay. It was rough. It was really rough. She had encephalitis, which is it's not a disease. It's an infection that goes to your brain.
Oh, really?
That causes all sorts of scary things. And she's a cancer survivor, so every time a cancer survivor stubs their toe, there's a line of oncologists wanting to say that the cancer is back. So you have to take all that with a grain or two or a pound or two of salt. But it's been it was really touch and go for about 2 weeks. I mean, I lived 2 weeks thinking that this was going to be the last day. And I don't wish that on anybody. Excuse me.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but
it's working.
Yeah, I'm glad that everything is. What a blessing that things are working out for you. And I know you two have had quite a ride. And she's the two of you together are a power couple, and we really appreciate.
Oh, you bet. We call ourselves the team to beat. But part of what we know when all this stuff started to go south. I mean, we've said many times, when you have the ball, if you're not double teamed, you're not much of a player.
Mm-hmm.
So we expected opposition. We had our movie To Die For has done great, but I didn't expect this.
Mm-hmm.
It was bad. It is getting better every minute of every day. I spent the night there with her last night,
mm-hmm.
and she slept about 8 hours, which is the first time she's done that.
Mm-hmm.
Her heart rate is now down, so. Prayer, medication, and dedication is working.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to get her home. She hasn't walked in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So all that kind of crazy stuff. A road I never wanted to be on. But we do believe that it is opposition to the great work that we're part of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's to be expected. But the devil is tricky. The devil hits you below the belt. There are no rules. It's like that guy in Butch and Sundance. Rules in a knife fight? No rules.
So when you faced this before, when you face this kind of opposition, what do you? And help me, because I've been facing some weird opposition lately. I think all of us who are out to do great things and good deeds are facing opposition. Give me some input. How have you been able to get through it without waking up in the morning and kicking a wall and going to bed at night and being in bed? Sometimes I go to bed and I just have so much angst. How do you get through it?
Well, I'm simple-minded. The biggest clue to how to get through it, and I'm not saying I haven't kicked the wall, because when you feel that the person you love more than anyone or anything in the world may not make it through the day, there's no way to prepare for that. But the biggest trick for anybody who is on the right path, and if you believe you are designed by God to do something specifically that He has for you to do, because God is up to something we're part of. We are not up to something God is part of. That's how I feel anyway. That you learn to expect opposition and to invite it. Not cocky and belligerent, but still, it's like, okay, well, if I've got the ball and nobody's on me, then I must not be a very good player. So if I am a good player, which in the Christian world means if I am on the path doing the job that God has for me in what He is doing,
mm-hmm.
then that's going to aggravate a lot of the bad guys.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you believe there is the bad guy, which I do believe, and I've seen it now. I have seen, now when I say "Get behind me, Satan," it's not just something quoting out of the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I see my wife waking up after a dream and saying very strange things
mm-hmm.
that are extremely scary, but evil in their nature.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are really listening to evil, an evil story, it. So I expect that we are on the right path. We are doing the right thing. We are, like you said, a power couple, and therefore, I expect, and Alicia and I talk about, something is going to come around the corner here to knock us between the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And what Alicia said when she was first diagnosed with cancer, she didn't say, "Oh my God, I've died." She said, This is because I am the the glue. Alicia is the glue that holds all of this world that we're part of together. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so we fully expected for her to be attacked. She had stage 4 cancer, wasn't supposed to be around. She beat it in about a year and a half, wound up with clear PET scans. So what that did for us is we're no longer afraid of cancer. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So because of that, she broke her back racing dirt track. Okay. We were racing dirt track cars, right? Because she's tough as a Waffle House steak. And it made it for a really terrible last year. Mm-hmm. With back surgeries and feeling better and then not feeling better. And then, one thing health-wise after another, which should have kept us from making the movie To Die For, and should have kept me from doing this great thing we're going to talk about eventually here, the conversation. But because we looked at Alicia's health issues as an attack rather than an event, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. we were able to deal with it from a different perspective. So in your world, number one, if you're on the right trail, expect to be attacked. And when you are, know that that's what it is, not just some circumstance that you have cavalierly wandered into. Does that
mm-hmm.
make any sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a little. It seems a little obscure, but when you're in it, especially, I'm talking about Alicia saying demonic kind of things. That made my prayer change when she finished saying that. I was no longer hands on her feet and hands on her head praying for health and strength. I was casting out demons, by God. I've never done that in my life. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But I did not stutter. I did not have to think. And I think this is a good sign you're also on the right track, praying the right prayer. That it came out of me as naturally as if I had been to a Bible school for 4 or 5 years. And she's been getting better every day. So I do believe I believe that we are under attack. And we're going to win. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Not because, I hate it when people say, oh, I've read the book and I know how it turns out. Well, I don't think it turns out that way anytime soon if good people sit on a fence and watch everybody else fight the war.
Well, and the way I look at it is, if you're going to be in the game, you're going to face the opposition. And if you're not in the game, you're just a spectator.
Yeah, you're sitting on a fence. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe, personally, I don't believe God made any spectators. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think God made us to be involved, mm-hmm. To participate, and that. Kind of like when we make a movie or we make a record, every instrument is important. No instrument is more important than any other instrument. So every instrument, every soldier, if you will, must participate and carry their weight, or it's going to fall on someone else's shoulders, which is going to distract them from what they should be doing. And then your house of cards kind of falls down. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it's been eye-opening, to say the least. I mean, we've done things with regard to carrying my bride in and out of the house on a lawn chair. I'm going to put it in a script, though. That's the other thing. I'm a writer, so we were working on a movie or a script called Winner Take All. And it's a half racing story and half cancer and recovery story. Well, now it's going to be a lot more elaborate with regard to the accuracy of what it's like going in and out of emergency rooms and looking at numbers on a computer screen and all of a sudden seeing a number I just saw just before I called you, I saw the number 87, which is her resting heart rate now. But for the last 2 weeks, her resting heart rate has seldom been under 120.
Wow.
Yeah. So this poor thing has been running around a track for 2 weeks, and now she's down. So it's been. I can honestly say that with the accuracy, it has been hell, David. It has been hell.
Yeah. But, sounds like it.
Yeah. So if things are just tough for you folks who are listening, that's not hell. Tough is the gym. This, when your whole world is at risk every minute of every day, that's hell. And that's what we've been through these but the last month, or she'd been in pain the whole last year with her 2 compression fractures in her back. So yeah, it's been amazing. Like I told her this morning, we are, if we were tough to beat before this happened, just wait until we're through it. It's going to be insane. We're really going to be a power couple at that point. So I have every reason to believe she'll be home here in maybe the next week. I'm hoping the next week. And that she'll be able to see this project we did. Well, she was home. She was home in back pain when I went and did the confession.
Well, you all are in our prayers, and she's going to especially be in our prayers for restoration and complete healing. So, just want you to know that we're there for you guys. Let's
purification of spirit.
Absolutely, amen to that. The confession, Monday, February 20th, you, Chonda, and a whole cast of characters. First of all, musical theater, for crying out loud.
That's where I started.
I know.
That's where I started.
I know, and I've known Chonda for a long time. I know she started by playing Minnie Pearl at Opryland. So you both have it in your roots,
right.
I guess.
And Minnie Pearl was there to see her. Minnie Pearl saw her one day. Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of a hybrid. It's very the show existed before we did it, but the show. So a bunch of the cast members, the younger cast members, had been in the show before, but it existed solely as a show on stage, and it was adapted from a book that I think has sold like 24 million copies. It's crazy.
The Heritage of Lancaster County by New York Times bestselling author Beverly Lewis. Yeah.
So it's remarkable. So they decided, well, we're going to film the musical version of this adaptation of this New York Times bestseller. So it's got many layers to it. But we rehearsed for, gosh, I think maybe 8 days, and I think we were filming on the 9th day.
Unbelievable.
Which was wild, yeah. And my background, my origins are musical theater, but when you mix musical theater with cameras on stage, it really becomes an entirely different animal. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. And Chonda was a trip. Beautiful voice. She's very funny, of course, in it where she needs to be funny, but there's a lot of parts that are not funny. It's a very heart-wrenching story at times. It's intentionally very simple. They talk about the simple life, and it's not like anything I've ever been a part of before. It's Amish. It's not Witness. It's got comedy. It's got beautiful, beautiful music, and I've only seen some of the interviews or some of the little snippets that were shot. It was shot beautifully. It was lit beautifully, and I can't wait to see it. I'm anxious. I want to get Alicia out of the hospital and into the theater so she can see what her husband did for those 10 days.
So yeah. When you do something like that, I mean, and you have 8 days to prepare for it. I mean, What do you liken that to? I mean, that's a grueling situation, or was it just a fun situation and the adrenaline was, off the charts for those few days?
You kind of you rise to the occasion. When you do a Broadway show, I've been put into 2 Broadway shows. You have 2 weeks, and then you are live and on your own, right? But this. So that the people that were involved in this, because of the truncated schedule, had to really be on their game. So it's kind of like if you're already a good skydiver, and you go up with somebody and they say, "Oh, we hired you because you're a really good skydiver," and you go to reach for your chute and they say, "No, hang on a second," and they throw the chute out of the airplane, count to 5, and then put their hand on your back and then say, "Okay, go get it," and push you out of the plane. That's kind of what this is like. But there was an element in live theater. You don't ever stop and start again. When you have cameras on stage, we were able to stop and start again occasionally. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Although it was we didn't lean on that. But it was so much fun. The audience was great. The place was sold out when we filmed it. A beautiful theater there in oh gosh, I even say it. I say the name of the town in the play, and I can't remember what it was.
It's up in
Kitsawana,
Indiana, right?
Yeah, Kitsawana.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And it was amazing because the horses and buggies are going by, so you're hearing the gloppita, 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 gloppita. The first week we were there rehearsing, I was in my motorhome and I heard the horses go by, and it was a beautiful sound. And then I heard right in a field next to where I was parked, where it was a tractor pull. So we went from the beautiful sound of people riding horses, wagons being pulled by horses, to thousands of horsepower. Wah! I thought, wait a minute, how can these 2 things live in the same world? But they did. So it was a great experience. I'm very anxious to see it. I had my short hair from To Die For, and it was great.
So
it was great. I want that hair back. I want my short hair back again.
So give us a synopsis of what this thing's all about.
Well, there's a young couple who are in love, and they have broken some of their I don't want to get the words wrong, my clan, their groups, mm-hmm. rules and regulations, mm-hmm. and in so doing, it's very innocent. The fact that they are alone together anywhere, the fact that he plays music on his guitar and writes music that are not the approved hymns, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. makes them available, or they get shunned, and I've heard the word shunned in my life. And, shunned to me is like you're kind of persona non grata, but it's not a life-changing event. Well, in this world, a shunning basically means you have been pushed from the group and you no longer exist. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So your parents no longer have you as a child. You no longer have. I mean, it's a very big deal. So in this world, the young man gets shunned, and winds up going out and doing his music, and coincides with my world. And I'm a guy whose wife is incredibly wealthy and incredibly sick, and I'm waiting for her to pass on so I can get her fortune. So I'm the bad guy, and it's quite great. And we sing about they sing about the simple life. I sing about wanting all this money. So it has its roots in this culture to a degree that I don't think anyone has ever really seen before. Certainly I haven't. I mentioned Witness, the Harrison Ford movie, years and years ago. It kind of jumped in there. It delved in that world a little bit.
And we're talking about the Amish, Right, Amish world.
Yeah, we're talking about the Amish. Yeah, talking about the Amish. And
you know what's interesting as you explain this to me about this guy wanting to do his music and he's shunned, etc. I liken this to the 60s and 70s when music. I remember my dad was a pastor in a church in Ohio in the 60s, and he brought in a band with 3 or 4 guys with long hair and drums into the church.
Oh, boy.
And I'll remember, man, the church board came out. I mean, it was, I think it was a revival. And they were ready to shun him and shun us, except for, you remember the days when you'd have revivals in the summer in these little churches and for a week?
We have actually right here, not far from where the studio is here, they put up a tent. So there is a revival happening within 10 miles of where I am right now.
Oh, there you go. So
it's pretty cool. Yeah, they still do it.
Yeah, I remember, boy, it was a big controversy until all of a sudden there were so many people that came to the revival and they'd come back every night to hear this and hear the preaching and hear the band. And people were literally, there were so many people, they were looking in the windows of the church because they couldn't get in.
Wow. That's fantastic.
And the movie Jesus Revolution that comes out in a few weeks, it's like that too. It's that whole hippie movement, Jesus movement deal back in the 70s where,
right.
They didn't want you in the hippies to come into the church because they were coming in barefoot and they would mess up the carpet. So
what, did they look too much like Jesus?
Yeah. So they were shunning them too until the movement took over
because they looked too much like Jesus. It's insane. People get they, like I said about demons and all of that. People get so into their dogma. They get so into their what they think is religious and what they think is right. Well, when you really need to pray, you know it. And when you really are in the sights of the devil, I'm just going to say it. If you're in the sights and you know it, it's not a question. Like I said earlier, it's not discomfort. It's like, whoa, the hair on the back of my neck, just something is different. And when you have people wanting, my God, you have people wanting to come to church, and then you have some sort of rule and regulation that keeps them from doing so. How could you not think that God is going to look down upon that and with a frown? How could you not? Right? Supposed to bring people to the kingdom. Supposed to exemplify the truth, the way, and the light. Well, the truth, the way, and the light cannot be hypercritical of someone because they don't have any shoes, or they chose not to wear them today, right? So I recommend that if because I have a lot of people that will not a lot, but I have people that'll get after me because of the language in the movies, or which to me sounds like what happens on the street, and I want to appeal to people who are on the street.
Yeah.
Or, I've been known to say that Jesus loves me too much for me to drink cheap whiskey. Yeah, so I drink wine, and I say, look, if there's a problem with it, then I think Jesus would have turned wine into water. And if I'm wrong, he'll tell me.
Right.
I don't need you to tell me. Right?
Yeah.
So, people get so up in arms about judging other people's walk that I question, how are they so secure with their own that they've got time to mess with mine?
Amen to that.
I think it's going to take me pretty much the rest of my life to get out of here. However long that's going to take, and I don't have room in my life, in my walk, to criticize yours. Now, if you want help, absolutely. But I'm not going to be critical of of what anyone else is doing, and I would respectfully request that they return the favor.
Amen to that, my friend. Well, look, I want to encourage folks to go see The Confession. It's in theaters Monday, February the 20th, starring John Schneider and Chonda Pierce. And hey, I really appreciate this time we've had together. It's always good catching up with you. And I'm going to be praying for you.
Thank you, my friend.
I'm going to be praying for you too. And I know that you all are going to do just fine. Next time we do one of these, I want to see her next to you. I've seen it.
I'll tell you next time. We'll talk about when she's sitting next to me. I'll tell you about the vision. And I'm not that guy either. I'm not. Oh, the Lord gave me a vision. But I tell you what, the Lord gave me a vision, and I will tell you about that next time. Also, if I may, folks, if you're patriotic, and I'm sure you are, go check out todieformovie.com. Todieformovie.com. That's Alicia and I's patriotic movie we did at the tail end of 2022. And Newsmax called it the most patriotic film of 2022. So there you go.
Fantastic. There you go. Well, I'm going to check it out. I'm going to definitely check it out.
Check it out.
Thank you, my friend.
I'll see you all in the movie theater.
All righty. See you soon. Talk to you later.
Thank you, my friend. Bye-bye.
Bye, John. Appreciate you. Thanks again, John. Again, the movie is called The Confession Musical, and it's in theaters for one day only, so don't miss it. I'm talking February 20th. That's President's Day, so mark your calendars. This is a project worth going to. You've been listening to Contagious Influencers of America from the producers of Keep the Faith. Please do check out our website at contagiousInfluencers.com. Also, our radio show website at KeepTheFaith.com, where you're going to find all kinds of goodies. I'm David Sams. This has been CIA. Remember this week to go out there and live that life in living color, because it sure is a heck of a lot more interesting than living in black and white. See you next time.